Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Katie and today I am sharing a journaling video. So I do a lot of painting and creativity videos and it's been a while since I shared a journal process, but I really enjoy filming these and I love to create in my journal. So although I know these aren't the most popular videos, I hope that you enjoy it and do let me know if you want me to continue with these because I wasn't sure whether to or not, but like I said, I really enjoy creating these and I hope you enjoy watching this process. So a lot of the times I work in my junk journal, which tend to have more of a vintage aesthetic, but today I wanted to work in my art journal. Although I am using a lot of sort of junky ephemera pieces, I do feel like there's quite a distinct difference. So this one just feels a little bit more brighter. I use a lot more colourful pieces, and that was my aim for this journaling session. I really just wanted to have a lot of fun and just play around with some of my supplies without using some of the more older vintage pieces. So you'll see here I'm using some paper which is from a 6x6 paper pack and this photo which is from a magazine. I'm putting that onto a tip-in which I'm using a wallpaper sample for. That's a really good way to get papers which are really nice and thick, so they work great as extra pages. And I'm just playing around with layering those on. I definitely didn't have a theme in mind for this one. This was just a case of wanting to be creative in my journal and seeing what happened. So it didn't feel like it came together as easily as sometimes it does, but it was just a really nice time to play in my journal. And I tend not to think too much about these, I just see where we end up. And I think that's why I enjoy it so much and it feels much more mindful sometimes than my other hobbies. So you can see the wallpaper sample there and I really loved how bright that was. And a lot of the pages in this journal are pre-prepped. This is where I put a lot of my leftover paint, obviously as an artist, especially when I'm using acrylics which can't be re-wet. If I've mixed too much of one colour on my palette, I'll tend to use a paintbrush and smush all the leftovers in this journal. Sometimes I use a credit card to create nice textures, or like on this page I created a border. And sometimes that's useful for me because it's a bit less scary than just going and working onto a blank page. The blue one behind the wallpaper sample did cause a little bit of an issue because I wasn't really sure how to tie in the colour. So sometimes it doesn't work, but sometimes if I am doing a particular colour theme, then I'll pick a page where the paint matches that. So I'm just taping in the tip in there. I'm just using some washi tape for that and I thought the pink grid worked really nicely with the pink elements in that paper. And I am using brown paper on the left there. I really like using torn edges and like the organic shapes that brings. So although I have used my guillotine for some of the photos, I really like the torn texture when I'm using other papers. So I have an envelope full of photos which didn't end up in my scrapbook and I haven't used before, and I find these really helpful for using on journal pages like this. They're usually photos that mean something to me, so I had a couple of photos from Gambia, which was a work trip quite a few years ago, and although I didn't use them in my travel journal at the time, I didn't want to throw them out. And so like this photo, which was from a day out in Southampton, I really wanted to include that, so I just keep them in the envelope and I'll dip into that when I need something. You'll see on the bottom there I did use a brush marker to add in that pink scribble, and I kind of regretted that, so I do come in later and cover it up a bit. But I really do want to be more playful and it was nice to try a different technique, so although I don't think it worked in this instance, it did feel nice to just try something else. And in this journal I want it to be arty, I want it to be full of paint and texture, so I also come in here with a pencil and just draw my own pattern in. I'm doing lines over the white and then just creating a coloured texture and some hearts down the bottom just to try and hide some of that pink. And I really like how these three pieces layer up. I've got some tissue paper there, which was some packaging from some loo roll, and then the Happy Heart Day, which I think was a printable. And I really like the way that they layer together. It took me a while to work out the layout, so on these pages it was a lot of back and forth because I didn't really know what I wanted. But overall I think these pages turned out really nicely. I really love how the bright blue sky links in with the blue on the right. And to try and cover up some of that pink, I'm coming in with some more packaging. This is a wrapper from a bath bomb, and then the pink floral piece was from some Happy Mail. And I thought that just worked really nicely. So sometimes with these pieces, I'll try it on the page and I'll just know instantly it should go there. And that was one of them. I found this piece from a Starbucks cup when I had some tea, so I put that in as well. That was paired along with the packaging, which doesn't go on this page but does go on the next one. So I like how it links them together, but I really like the way the tea tag fitted in with the pink theme. So onto this next page, I definitely struggled with that blue there. I really like the warmth that comes from the one on the left. It does feel quite autumnal with those pattern papers and the image. So I do feel like the blue was throwing it off. I didn't feel like I wanted to cover up that completely though. So I found this floral Cath Kidston pattern, which does have a little touch of blue in it, as well as the pink and red tones. So I thought that would work well. And I've decided to play around with the Starbucks piece, the packaging which links in with the tea from the other side. So I'm just trying on lots of different elements on the page. Like I said, I wasn't sure about covering up the blue completely, although I definitely could have done that. I know I said I wasn't going for the vintage aesthetic, but I liked the warm tone of this old music sheet, so I add that on the top. And I just trim off the excess. So I'm coming back in with the little bits of packaging. I have a lot of supplies, so what I tend to do is just get a pile out from the box that I keep them all in and put that onto the desk when I'm doing a journaling session, rather than having like the whole box to choose from. So this little bowl is filled with a lot of my smaller pieces. I find that they tend to get lost in the box, so I keep those in the little bowl. And that's got lots of smaller cutout paper and tags, and I find that useful for dipping into when I want to add to the page, but not have to trim anything down. I finally found a place for that bath bomb wrapper, and that goes down there. I know it doesn't really fit in with the theme, but I really like the contrast that gave me. I played around with the playing cards and also these foliage clear stickers. And I'm just trying them and all the different elements in different places. I tend to just get a feel for when it's right, so I like the way that that looked up in the top right corner. And I'm just trying to see if I've got any other elements to fit in the page. This doily felt a bit too twee for this page, so I kept that off. And I decided to play with this Starbucks packaging again. I really think that the warmth of the brown paper works with this page. I just wasn't quite sure where to put it without it looking like it had just been thrown on. So to tie the two pages together, I decided to put it over the spine. And I'll stick that over a few of the elements from both pages just to link it together, and I think that worked really nicely. Because I stuck it over the middle, I just have to make sure that the tip-in still works and folds nicely before sticking on the tab label, which was a perfect orange tone to go with that page. Then it's a case of sticking on the elements that aren't stuck yet. I try and do that as I go rather than leaving it right until the end, but it does help using a glue stick because it means that I can peel things up if needed and tuck things underneath. I also used this roll of sticky dots, which I got from AliExpress. There was a darker one that I tried on the left-hand page which didn't quite work, so I put that in a random spot just on some other page on my journal. But I think it tied in a few of the colours really nicely on that spread. So this is how the journal pages look. Here's a close-up for some of the individual elements. I really hope you enjoyed watching this one, and do let me know if you enjoy my journal content. I was wondering whether to do them as an extra upload on Wednesdays every couple of weeks or once a month, and then keep all my Sunday uploads just to painting and art, but do let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoyed watching the process. I hope you have a lovely week, and I will see you next Sunday with a new video. See you later.